Good afternoon, everyone. This is Wayne Bennett with ECRM, and today I'm joined by Derek Gaskins, who is now the Chief Marketing and Merchandising Officer of Yesway. So I'm glad to have you here today, Eric. I see you're sheltering in place, looks like in your home. Is that correct?
I am. Yes. So right now I happen to be on the North Shore of Boston.
Yep.
Up in a little town called Marblehead, Massachusetts. So
Very
I'm
nice.
sheltering in place while my stores are open and trying to run things from afar and get that supply chain going, or keep that supply chain going, rather.
Yeah, no, we definitely want to talk about that. And, before we get into it, I first want to ask, you're looking well, you're looking sharp, but how are you handling the situation? And, tell me a little bit about what you're doing to keep your team focused and managing their emotions, and how you kind of doing all that.
Yeah, it has been a challenge. And I think, like many of you, and certainly you, Wayne, personally, we've had to change how we do things. So going back maybe 6 weeks ago, it was more of a crisis mode. I had members of my price book team, for instance, that may not have had laptops or connectivity.
Wow.
So had to prepare for where we are now, where you can literally do the job from home. I would say when you get to the category manager or brand manager and up level, we were already adequately positioned to do that level of our work, but certainly had to make some last minute accommodations and to get people's home offices and things set up. So now I would say the best way that I'm handling it personally and with my team. Personally, I think the biggest challenge is finding balance. As easy as everyone thinks working from home is, I actually find it's the opposite. In many ways, it's harder to turn off. So you may be working earlier than you typically would because it's tempting to get your morning coffee and get started right away without a break. And then next thing you know, you can end up working through dinner hour and family time. So the most difficult challenge is to try to get a schedule so that you're not bored. And, without that schedule and some routine, I think you start losing what the rhythm of your life is. And so that's been a challenge. I would say with the team, it's using tools like we're using right now, Zoom or Microsoft Teams and FaceTime and other tools to use video, which, is not a perfect replacement for face-to-face, but at least it's better than just phone. And now, I'm even looking at more of the social things that everyone is doing, the Zoom happy hours or the team happy hours, so we can start to have some fun. I think the biggest thing that's missing, and I've even heard my team express this to me, is just that casual walk down the hall or the next cube over, the next office over, and just shooting an idea off of each other.
Right.
When you lose that, it's hard to maintain what the connections are. And so some ways that we try to overly compensate, they create busy work. Your email volume might have doubled because now you're copying people to make sure they're in the loop because you can't have that conversation. The phone calls may double for those same reasons.
Derek, I hear what you're saying. It's funny. I call my virtual happy hour with my team the weekly drink-a-drink. So drink a drink, right? And this Friday when we're having it, the backdrop's going to be your most recent vacation. And I'm going to steal that. There you go. It's for you.
Right now.
You can have it. So do that. So, more seriously, obviously there's a lot of supply chain disruption in the marketplace. But I'm curious to know what you're doing to keep the supply chain going, to meet the demand that you have in your stores. Maybe talk a little bit about that demand. I know people are driving less and how you're kind of navigating through all of that.
I would use two words that I would say within the convenience channel we've always taken pride in, flexibility and agility, right? But it's on hyper growth mode right now. So I would say the short answer to how I'm keeping the supply chain going is identifying alternative paths, vendors, suppliers, and partners to source things from. So, I've had to be flexible even with my own policies where I may say we only get store supplies from our mainline wholesaler. Well, guess what? If they run out, now that goes out the window. So are we direct sourcing? Are we working with vendors that I may have never even heard of? So can I be a little more agile to get them set up in our systems and to get that product? We had never done, Wayne, and this may come as a shock, but we had never sent products via FedEx or UPS direct to stores. That's how we're getting things. So when people were saying, how do you still have sanitizer? How do your stores have masks and gloves? And how are we able to get those so quickly as we did? It's because we were more flexible and more agile and accommodating of these new waves, and have identified distributors and suppliers where there's FedExes going to stores with, breakdowns of hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes, gloves, masks, hat shields, you name it. Right. So the first and most important focus was get our team members as safe and comfortable as they can be.
Yep.
We introduced something called a hat shield that's more of a personal sneeze guard. You've certainly seen them. They look like what a medical practitioner or someone from CDC wears with the clear visors. Right. It's almost like a personal sneeze guard in many ways. Right. So every team member, field technician, district manager has those.
Good.
We also then supplied them with KN95 masks. So everyone has the option to wear that in addition with the hat shield so that they can be as comfortable. And then the routine things of gloves, disinfectant wipes, hand sanitizer, have kept that in stock for store use and customer use on the sanitizer, right, but also for retail sales. We're even selling individual use surgical masks in all of our stores and have them readily available for customers to grab. So yep, I would say the most innovative thing that we've done is our CEO authorized a new role called a greeter. And what we've been doing with these greeters is engaging with other brands in the QSR space or other companies that have actually furloughed people. I'll name some names here. We work with folks from White Castle, from Regal Cinemas, Cinemark. We're talking to the Inspire brands. They're behind Arby's and BW3, yep, Sonic, and some of those concepts. And so as they're furloughing people, we can welcome them on a temporary basis as a greeter. And these greeters can be ambassadors or cleaning hosts, where they're literally holding doors open so we can operate as close to touch-free and contactless as possible.
Interesting.
So customers can come in. And then it's a secondary benefit of seeing someone actively engaged in disinfecting and wiping down high-touch surfaces on a constant basis, whether it's the fuel pumps, the doors, the coffee bar, the counters, certainly restrooms. That has repositioned us as a, place that customers trust going in to shop. And then long term, with that added labor, they're going to do other things, whether it's bringing curbside and products right to the customer's car. Yep. So it's contactless. And if they're in gloves, again, you start to go down that path. So that's something that, we've been quite proud of. Yep. The CEO took another huge step early on. This was literally 5 weeks ago now. Yep. Where everyone was given 2 weeks additional PTO. You're not feeling well. You're concerned. You think you've come into contact with anyone that has been exposed to COVID-19. Yep. Do the right thing. Stay home. Don't worry about your pay. He increased pay. He even gave store credits. So the store credits are a way that basically they can use the credits to purchase anything they want, from HBA products, general merchandise, cleaning supplies, food, beverages, you name it. The only exclusions we had were things such as lottery and tobacco and things of that ilk. But we did want, it's up to $250 credit per person that they're able to use, and they can even buy fuel. Yep. So these are things that they need in this time of need. Yep. Going to your point around, the impact on the business, I think, like most, there was the early, I don't want to say boom, that's the wrong term to use, but it was the early growth.
Surge, the early surge.
The early surge. So, one of the phrases that I used was it went from pandemic buying to panic buying and pantry loading, that as everything was running out or closing around us, we started selling in categories that we typically would not have sold those volumes. Grocery, center store, HBA, cleaning supplies, pet.
Right.
Then that transitioned into what I would call take-home pantry loading. You know, the things you would obviously think of that convenience stores do very well.
Snacks.
Beer, for instance.
Beer.
Snacks.
Right.
But beer we've literally had a tough time because as bars and restaurants closed, people would come to us for beer, wine, and spirits. And, you know, I'm very conscious that we do not want to have predatory pricing or gouging of any sort. So we adhere to what our target margins have been, if not even lower, to make sure we're delivering value. But it has led to, you know, if the average person would buy what they would consume in 2 weeks or 1 month, I think that consumption curve with everyone staying home is now, that's 1 week. So we're selling take home. Right. That has been the biggest shift, is that the immediate consumption, food for now, snacks for now, those are trending down versus the food for later, meal solutions, grocery, take-home sodas, soft drinks, packaged beverages, bottled water cases, certainly, take-home beer, large bottles of liquor and wine, where it may have been the 50 milliliters or the 100. That shifting consumption pattern towards take-home has benefited us. So while gallons are down and traffic's down, basket size is way up.
Interesting. Very interesting. So a pivot from immediate consumption to more of a pantry fill later on consumption.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly.
So obviously we've talked about masks and PPE related sanitizer, the interesting dynamic between immediate to future consumption. But what are you finding in your stores right now, sort of as an interesting assortment outcome of the current, you know, pandemic buying, pantry buying that you're seeing today, and any insights about where that might take you into the future in terms of assortment of product?
Certainly think we now have more license within the fill-in category than if you were to ask me even this time 6 months ago. I would say fill-in within the channel is limited at best. It works in some rural markets or urban markets that may be food deserts.
Right.
I think now there's a clear need for that and a want for that at a good value. So we are looking at those staples that have exploded. I mean, everyone laughs about toilet paper and the memes that are associated with that. Right. But whether it is, you know, paper goods and, you know, fill in truly everything from milk, bread, eggs, butter, and those commodities to the paper and inedible grocery cleaning supplies, HBA, I think we have license now beyond just trial size. That as a channel and industry, everyone was going down food as the future, food as the current, and that meant, you know, numerous things, whether it's made to order, grab and go, self-serve, all of that. I think that is now broader, that it's more about fill in and solutions. And food is certainly part of that. And I even think within food, you know, some of the things that have been restricted for sales have been self-serve. You know, we have some states that we operate in, Kansas or South Dakota, other regions around the country that have, those are some of the first things that were restricted because of the hard surfaces. So, you know, not allowing refills of mugs, and then eventually leading to not even having dispensed cups and beverages served at all. So packaged, I think, is something that I had not thought about as a long-term option. And I think having food that's packaged for an individual or for two, it could be food for now or food for later, but on the go, much as Europe probably did 5 or 10 years ago. I think those trends are going to accelerate here now. People want even their produce items packaged, and of course sandwiches and meal solutions and things like that. And if I can give it to you in a bag or a box with gloves on and it's contactless, or I can deliver it to you or bring it to your car curbside, I think that is a permanent change that has been accelerated. You know, there's another little phrase that I've been using that is, you know, things went from being innovation to expectation. So I think on the backside of this, things that were innovative prior, such as mobile ordering and delivery and third-party delivery and fulfillment and curbside and drive-thrus, these are now expectations that every brand, from even Home Depot, is doing curbside and
Right,
contactless. And, people will come to your door and leave a package and, ring the bell and walk away, or not even ring the bell. We'll leave it because you don't want them to touch anything. So I think that is the new world that we're going to live in. Hopefully we all won't be wearing masks for the long term and gloves and things of that nature.
right.
But I do think the packaging and the contactless and that supply chain that gives you some comfort over the sanitation and the security of what you're eating is here to stay.
Right. Derek, very insightful. I have a question. So I know at the end of 2019, you had finally integrated with Allsup's. That whole integration, I know it took a lot of your time and effort and focus in 2019, and then in the fall of 2019, that integration was finally finalized. So tell us a little bit about how that's going in light of COVID-19. Yep. And, it's a new paradigm, but, give me a sense of, how you think your business will pan out in 2020.
Yeah, I think that while the acquisition, Wayne, is what was completed at the end of, call it 2019 or November, right? That's when we closed the deal.
Right.
So right now we're right in the midst of the integration and the systems, the ERP solutions, the point of sale, introducing private label, cross affiliation into both stores, improving our supplier agreements, negotiating with vendors. So all of that, to your point, is what the teams have been working on for the, call it past 3 to 5, 6 months or so. Yeah. So it's accelerating, right? COVID in some ways sped it up, right? It was the first time that I think, even signage and communication to customers with one voice from our CEO of here's what we are doing as a company, not two distinct banners, but here's what Yesway and Allsup's as a family, what we're doing. The communication, the greeters are in both the houses or both banners and brands.
Okay, yeah.
And then as I look towards the summer, as we're on the cusp of spring and summer selling season, that will be our first promo period where we'll have the same promotion with vendors and features across all, 420 plus stores. So a lot of excitement there. I have optimism towards 2020. Yeah. Certainly have long-term optimism around what as a company we're doing, seeing what we're accomplishing on a daily basis. It's been really cool, to see the IT systems and the price book, the accounting and all of the infrastructure. The marketing and merchandising team are now one where, the category manager for tobacco is doing it across both banners, the enterprise and all stores. Yeah. Same thing in beer and packaged beverage and center store. Right. So some really fun things. I think the only negative is that we're doing it remotely, right? So we're doing it in this video conference Zoom era and not face to face like I would have loved to do.
Yeah. No, Derek, that's really good. And I'm thinking about the pandemic, and you think about how the pandemic will drive innovation across the board, but I do also like your comment about how it will drive expectation. And I'm and I'm happy to hear that your expectations for your overall business will continue to be strong and on track. So that's really good to hear.
Absolutely.
So Derek, as an essential spokesman for Yesway, you've carried the flag over the last couple of years. I'm very appreciative of you having a strong industry voice for Yesway, but also for the convenience store industry, sort of in totality. You're very active in industry affairs, and I appreciate what you bring to the table. So can you maybe shed some light or some perspective, maybe it's your own personal perspective, on where you see the C-store industry going in light of COVID-19, but also beyond? Maybe you can provide some perspective on that from a more broader global perspective.
Certainly. I mean, I think, Wayne, I've taken tremendous pride in watching the industry as a whole step up, right? And to be recognized as the superheroes that a lot of our frontline team members absolutely are.
It's impressive.
It is unlike anything I've ever seen. And, I've always been long on small format retailing, grocery, as well as convenience. I think this has even made me double down. as essential workplaces and retail entities, it has been remarkable seeing the pace of change, everyone step up. So to your point and to your question, I am very comforted that I feel that as much as e-commerce is now, so many people have done it that had not done it, that we know it has mainstreamed. It, again, went from innovation to expectation. I think small format neighborhood retailing has done the same thing. That as people have said, you know what, I'm out of this. I need a potato. I'll just make something up. Or I need milk to cook with. Or I'm out of this particular product, that they have been able to rely on their community convenience store. And I think, when you look at the role that NACS has played in looking at the convenience industry and trying to champion that, one of the things has always been this struggle with suppliers to not just notice us, but to give us the respect that we're due, not to just notice what the problems are, right? We can all talk about the complexities of the business. It's, it's over 150,000 of them. It's hard to reach them. The supply chain is fragmented, individual operators, chains, very regional, no dominant player. We get all of that. But I think the opportunities now have spoken for themselves, that as other places have shut down, those convenience stores have stepped up. They're still open. Those neighborhood grocers fulfilling markets are still open and meeting those needs. And the suppliers have also, I think they should be lauded, because, they're dealing with what we're dealing with. When a plant or a facility or a warehouse has exposure, that supply chain can be disrupted. And they're putting together protocols to make sure that they don't disrupt that. And we've had our share of hiccups with big vendors, small ones, and it's just been admirable how quickly they've come back online. And I'm talking about the Altrias, the Coca-Colas, the Hershey's, the Mondelez, Pepsi, Red Bull, Monster, you name it, that they may have had a disruption or a supply hiccup, and within days, I mean that, within days they've been able to say, here's how we fix it, solve for that, and we'll have a truck to your stores at this particular date. So, early on, this whole sentiment of we're in this together was one of the rallying cries for the nation. And I just think that it's real. It's not hype. It's not puffery. We'll get through this together. And, it's been remarkable watching the entrepreneurial spirit come out from the convenience store segment, as it always does, to help solve one of the bigger challenges and, problems. And it keeps me up at night, making sure that my people are safe. Absolutely. That supply chain keeps going. And, I take it as a, badge of honor, frankly, that I've been trusted, with keeping the wheels on that bus going. Yep.
Well, Derek, I know you're busy doing all these wonderful things to keep your store associates safe and your shoppers safe. I really do appreciate your passion for the business and your leadership, not only at Yesway, but for the industry as a whole. It was really a great opportunity to speak with you today, and you look great out there in Boston. So whatever you're doing,
thanks, man.
Keep doing it. But I appreciate your time today. Is there anything you want to offer in closing to the audience that will be viewing this today?
Yeah, but just say, for us all, it will get better, right? That have that spirit of American exceptionalism, or whatever term that we want to use. But I think retail is one of the oldest things that has kept society going. And even now with the pandemic, we're still rolling and doing our best. So just that spirit of can do, we will get through this together and come out better for it.
Yeah, amen. Amen. Derek, listen, I'm going to let you go. I appreciate the time and the opportunity to speak together. My hope is that we'll be able to see each other sooner rather than later at an upcoming function, a face-to-face function, whether it's an ECRM function or some other industry function. I look forward to keeping in touch with you, and whatever we can do here at our organization to continue to serve you and your team, I'm fully committed to that. Thanks again. Appreciate your time. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Wayne, and best to you and family and the whole team. So thank you again.
Take care, Derek. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Great.
Bye.